Let's unwrap this thing.
Yeah, you just got back from Montana.
Yep, I was in Thompson Falls, Montana for a week, and Big Fork, Montana. We flew into Idaho Falls, Idaho, of course, and we rented trucks, 5 trucks from there, and drove to
How
Missoula, and then from there we got assigned to a fire.
how long was the ride? Montana's a big state. It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge, and I don't think we even put a dime in the bucket, as far as how big it is and what we covered, obviously.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because when we went to Canada for the Ironman, we drove from here through all the way to Canada.
Across.
And it was like
The whole state?
10 to 12 hours.
Oh, yeah.
It was forever.
Yeah. We stayed strictly on the west side there. I don't know. I would say pretty midways, somewhere in there. I mean, we like I said, we drove into Missoula, and then from there, that's like where you get kind of tasked out from Missoula. That's where a lot of the, I guess, kind of headquarters for that area is in Missoula.
So tell everybody what exactly you do.
Well, my full-time job is wild and firefighter, part-time male dancer. No, wild and firefighter. I mean, my actual job title in Florida is forest ranger, which is a catch-all. That basically means anything they need done in the forest, we get tasked to do. But out west, wild and firefighter, that's what we get sent out as.
And you do that every year?
I've done it the last 2 years in a row. I plan to do it every year. It's optional, though. I don't have to do it. It's not like that's not a part of, going to other states is not a part of my job. It's not any requirement of my job. It's a way for me to subsidize income because we don't get paid very well. I mean, that's no secret.
Yeah. So what got you into being a park ranger? Like you
Forest ranger. Park ranger, so offensive. Well, I mean, as you know a little, we went to Africa for 5 months. And when we came back, I had quit my job before we left. So we came back, I didn't have a job. And started doing side work for people, kind of like being almost like a ranch hand in a way, doing miscellaneous little things around people's property, helping them out. And it was something I really enjoyed. And some of it was paid, some of it wasn't. It was helping mostly older retired people. And I really enjoyed that. I'm like, man, I'd really like to continue doing this as a profession.
Yeah.
But it's like, where do you get into that? And I was just kind of softly looking for a job. We weren't financially where I absolutely had to get a job, but I wanted a job. I was, that purpose we talk about.
Right.
I needed that. And a little bit was social interaction. I'd, spent, a couple months where I was without one. So I was like, man, I really like being around people more than I think I do anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, started looking, and the fact that I was a state employee at one time, I still get I was getting emails for job openings in my area, state jobs, and that one came across, and I started looking into it, and I'm like, wow, that's everything I want to do wrapped up in a job. And then firefighting was a part of that. I wasn't looking to be a firefighter. Never in my life was like, oh, I want to be a firefighter. I never said that as a kid. And it was like, oh, firefighting's a part of that. That could be interesting. And so I, researched more into it. I applied for it and got hired. And to me, the fire was just like, oh, yeah, that might be cool too. And now it's one of my favorite part of the jobs.
Yeah.
I love the land management part of it, but I also love prescribed fire. That's a big part of our job in Florida. prescribed fire.
So what's a prescribed fire? Like underbrush burning, stuff like that?
Yeah. Yep. Basically removing hazardous fuels, or hazardous being stuff that can have potential to not necessarily start a future wildfire, but carry a future wildfire. Trying to get ahead of the game, basically. You know, if you burn something preemptively, like, right. You know, a lot of lightning strikes, or a lot of fires are caused by lightning strikes. Human cause is probably, I don't want to quote which one's 1 and 2, but they're both top 2
up there.
Lightning and human caused. Lightning's going to be most of the ones you get in the forest, obviously. So you go in preemptively and you burn it, it can't burn again. Or if it does, it could, I'm not going to say it can't burn again, but it's just less likely. And if it does, it's going to be a lot easier to stop.
Right.
A lot easier to catch it. So that in Florida, that's our biggest way of trying to control fires, is preemptively burn them, which they don't do in a lot of Western states, which is why they have.
That's what Trump was talking about, right?
Yeah, he was actually right about that. As much people, they don't like what he says. That one, I was like, he knows what he's talking about on that one. He's dead right.
I mean, and you know, it's funny because I told Natalie this. I when he was talking about it,
yeah.
I said, I guarantee you next summer, they will be cleaning up and doing some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, it was like probably a month and a half ago, I saw about the state of California trying to fight.
I think they're even
ahead of the game by clearing the underbrush.
But I think they're even worse this year. There's a fire going on right now. It's called Dixie Complex. I don't know the exact title. It's Dixie something. It's well over 500,000 acres right now.
Yeah.
That's you don't have fires like that in Florida. That's unheard of.
And that's the thing. We've talked about this, I mean, probably on 2 or 3 occasions now in the show, about the government spending money on things like this, right? And I know that they spend money on wildlife, whatever, forest ranger things in that area, but they're not doing any of that. And then on the back end, after these fires start, it's a ridiculous amount of money that they're pouring into that fire.
Oh yeah, there's a whole economy that revolves around wildfire. It's crazy. I mean, especially in Western states, way more so than on the East Coast. There's more that goes into it though than just their poor management of forest lands out there. There's you know, you got topography. I mean, there's terrain there that we just don't have here. So that makes it much more difficult.
Yeah, it's not as...
It gets much drier, yeah. So, you know, 20% humidity or humidity in the teens, which is a big driver for wildfires, is unheard of here. If you have days like that here, like, dude, it's going to blow up. You're going to have a huge fire. If one gets started, you're going to have a real problem with it. We don't have those kinds of days very often here because we're so humid. Right. So that's part of it. They have the Santa Ana winds, and there's a lot more that goes into it that makes their fires a lot bigger, but a lot of it is management.